Today's Thursday, so we talk about success for Scrum Masters. We've been sharing success stories here on the podcast since 2015, so there's a lot to learn. But wouldn't you like to learn from people with decades of experience? Well, don't worry, we've got you covered. The Scrum Master Toolbox podcast launched Tips from the Trenches, the Scrum Master Edition audiobook. That's version 2 now out. There are 13 audio interviews, 3 hours of audio with Scrum Masters that have decades of experience. We've got Mike Cohn, Linda Rising, Lisa Crispin, Christopher Avery, Emily Weber, myself, your podcast host, Yves Hanul, the editor of the original Tips from the Trenches ebook, also available with the audiobook. Altogether, 13 super experienced Scrum Masters. To learn more, visit bit.ly/audiotips2. That's bit.ly/AUDIOTIPS and the numeral 2 at the end, all lowercase, all one word. So one more time, that's bit.ly/audiotips2 to learn more. And now, on to today's show. Hello everybody, welcome to our Success Thursday this week with Paddy Corry. Hi Paddy, welcome back.
Hi Vasco, thank you.
So Paddy, on Thursdays we talk success, but before we dive into that, we always want to know, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
Well, there's a format that I like to use that's very straightforward. It is a bit of a mix to the traditional, what's going well, what's not going so well. And all it really does is add a second axis to the what's going well and what's not going well. And that axis is based around control. What you can do with this retrospective format is create a 2x2 matrix. So on the horizontal axis, you can have control. On the vertical axis, you can have things going well or things not going so well. And as you're asking the team about the things that are happening in a good way or things that we need to improve, the second question becomes really important. Is this under our control to do something about? So if something is not going so well, can we fix this ourselves? Or do we need anybody to help us? This is a great example of a powerful question from a Scrum Master to a team, because the team are looking at this item and listening to this question, and it's almost like a mirror. They're looking at the thing and saying, well, I suppose, yeah, we could fix it ourselves. Or no, absolutely not. We definitely need help with that. And that verbalization isn't always common. So the retrospective allows it to be really transparent. So if something is outside of our control and not going well, we put it in the quadrant that corresponds. And that indicates that somebody needs to do something to communicate with somebody outside of the team to get help, to get this thing fixed. And it prompts further questions, it prompts further discussions. If something is going not so well, but it is under our control, that becomes the fix quadrant. So, hey, we can fix this. We don't have to, but there might be 4 things in the fix quadrant. Which one do we need to fix first? Which one is the most important? And the other side of this, things that are going well. If things are going well and that's outside of our control, we can send thanks to people. And this is one of my favorite jobs as a Scrum Master after a retrospective. If I'm the one who takes on the job of sending thank you on behalf of the team, it's my favorite message to send. So send a message to somebody, CC the whole team. Hey, that time you fixed the pipeline for us in the last iteration, it was great because it just got us moving again. And we would have been waiting. We had that important deployment to get into the hands of the client. So thank you, doing a great job. They're wonderful emails to send or messages to send. If there are things that are going well, but they're under our control, then we get to give a high five to the team. Hey, keep doing this. This is great. We get to call out things inside the team that are working well from our own perspective. So I think this retrospective format is a great, transparent picture of how a team is doing. One other aspect is that if you do this over time, you see that asking the question, is this under our control or is this outside of our control? You start seeing a gradual shift of things that require escalation because the team decide, hey, you know what? No, I'm going to take ownership of that. We're going to become a bit more self-organized and look after these things ourselves. So the first time you run it, you might see 5 or 6 items in escalate. But if you're doing it over time, gradually, you should see fewer and fewer.
I like how structured that conversation becomes when you are able to name the quadrants like that. How have you seen the teams react to when you draw the matrix and then you put those, fix, ask for help, send congratulations type names on the board?
I think they generally don't like seeing many things in the escalate quadrant. That's an uncomfortable place for a team to be. There's things happening that are outside of our control and they're not going well. That's an uncomfortable picture for a team. So, that can highlight a number of things. It can highlight the fact that the team maybe underestimate their ability to influence those issues. And, as a Scrum Master, as a facilitator in that retrospective, you get to ask follow-up questions to just probe into that a little bit more. Like, why are so many of these things outside of our control? What is the missing element here that helps us get these things under control? Is there potentially one person that could get a little bit more involved with the team to help us bring all of these things under control? Or is it spread? Are the things influenced from many, many different areas? I think there's that level of discomfort is natural, but also quite positive because it leads to, it's not about being ashamed. It's just about being kind of uncomfortable. Okay. The next fast question is, well, what can we do about this?
Absolutely. And those are very important conversations to have.
Yes.
Even if one of those is very uncomfortable.
Yes. And I think a little bit of discomfort for the right reasons. It's an investment rather than just discomfort for its own sake. And, I think the flip side is also true. I can't overestimate how great the impact is to send a thank you for no reason to somebody who's doing a good job on behalf of a team. It just creates such goodwill.
Absolutely.
And, you do it for its own sake, but the day that another one comes in from outside to an individual or the team from somebody outside the team in response, is a great day as well.
Absolutely. Paddy, now we turn our attention to one other aspect that I'm sure comes straight out of that focus on helping teams improve, which is the success of the Scrum Master. So share with us, what's your own definition of success for your role as a Scrum Master?
I think this is a great question. It's it relates back to my, I suppose, initial discomfort with taking on the Scrum Master role, because I came from a development position. As a developer, you get to add value by building software. You get to make the things. You're the maker. In a Scrum Master role, in many cases, you probably won't be involved in the making part. You'll be in the facilitation role. So rather than making great things, you're helping make things great. I think you've got to look for feedback often. And as a Scrum Master, you've got to find ways to request feedback that are appropriate for you, that are appropriate for your team, and appropriate for the context of your organization. And as a Scrum Master, you need to build those feedback mechanisms into your ways of working. So at a small scale, after a retrospective or after a refinement, how did that go? Is there anything we can do to make this better? At a retrospective itself, we're taking on actions to improve the team's context. Are those improvement actions making a difference? Are we actually making progress on the important things? we can have one-to-one conversations with team members to ask, how am I doing? Is there anything I can do to make things better? But I think the key thing is not necessarily to search for one particular way to measure how you're doing. It's to continually be inquisitive. Keep asking, how can I do better? There will be small ways and there will be important ways. But by constantly looking for that feedback, you'll be asking the right question, I think.
Absolutely. And there's one question, right in that vein, there's one question that I find very powerful in my own practice. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, which is, talking to a developer, a product owner, a manager, a tester, whatever role might be. I usually tend to ask, okay, so right now, what are you struggling with?
Yes, I think that's a really positive question. It's very powerful. And one that I like, I'm always experimenting with this myself, but I think it needs to be an open question like the one you've used. I might ask, is there anything I can do to make your life easier? It's an open, broad question. Initially, it's broad enough that people might think, well, but I don't even know how to answer that. But by repeating it, by saying it often enough, people say, well, yeah, there is actually, why aren't we doing anything about that pipeline issue? It's come up maybe 3 times in the last month. Okay, maybe I can do something about that,
And by opening up that conversation, we are allowing the team to raise up topics that would otherwise either wait for the retrospective when it's too late to do anything about it, except, of course, for the next sprint, or not even in the retrospective, especially if they relate to relationships and expectations between team members.
Yes, and I think by asking a more narrow question, you might limit your request for feedback or for a conversation to your expectation of what the team needs. So you might say, is there anything going on with the Scrum events that I could do better at? But instantly you're precluding the possibility of conversations about more technical things or relationship issues in the team or dependency management. So keeping it broad and I guess keeping the request frequent is important.
Absolutely. That was a great insight into questions we can ask that help us and, of course, help the team succeed. Thank you for that, Paddy.
My pleasure, Vasco.
Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.